There's a very important benefit of Cider vinegar that I've never even talked about in any of my videos on Cider vinegar, and I probably have hundreds of them. And I think most people know that Cider vinegar is good for digestion. It helps with bloating, indigestion, acid reflux. Cider vinegar also is good for your blood sugar. It helps make insulin more sensitive. We have less of a fatty liver and less inflammation. I think a lot of people know about those things. And I've talked about those benefits extensively until very recently. Benefits of apple cider vinegar, and to explain the benefit, I just need to explain something about good bacteria and bad bacteria. Both groups of microbes can go into a dormant state. They can go to sleep. I want to show you something in this book right here, which is kind of like a mini summarization of a textbook on microbes. I want to read something to you. This is mind-blowing. Certain bacteria were able to switch from an active growing phase to dormancy. This is a survival mechanism triggered mainly by starvation signals. Of course, if you're going to starve them off, they're going to die, right? The last resort response to starvation that a cell undergoes once all other stress coping mechanisms have been triggered. The purpose is to generate a metabolic inactive cell that will maintain the genetic information under various environmental stresses, including ultraviolet radiation and certain enzymes and certain chemicals. When that microbe is in a dormant state, it's dead. Protected, especially against antibiotics. Thanks to its architecture, a dormant microbe can survive decades to thousands of years. What are the things that revive a good bacteria versus a bad bacteria or a bad pathogen are not the same? What will wake up the good bacteria that are sleeping? There's several things, but the thing that I want to talk about is the change of environment. Just by changing the pH, you can either wake up a good bacteria or put them to sleep. Most of the good bacteria thrive in an acid environment. And this acid protects them. Because a lot of pathogens cannot live in that acidic environment. But the good guys can. And so when you're taking apple cider vinegar, you're acidifying the environment. Now you can also do this with kombucha tea, pickle juice, sauerkraut, kimchi, things like that. A lot of health problems occur because the bacteria now can penetrate through this immune wall, go into your bloodstream and create a systemic infection and create all sorts of issues. There's two main entry points. These microbes kind of get into your blood. One is through the colon and the other is through your gums. In fact, there's certain reports that when they look at plucking in the arteries, they're finding bacteria from your mouth. A lot of skin problems are coming from this bacteria that should be in the gut, but it's called translocated. It moves in a different part of your body. There's another type of microbe that creates butyrate, which is kind of a byproduct that helps insulin resistance. Those microbes love. And just by keeping that pH in the acidic range, you can greatly increase the numbers of those bacteria. It's all about the terrain, the environment. I mean, think about you. Don't you thrive in a nice environment? We have a mutual arrangement with microbes, right? We provide a home for them to live. And they give us immune protection, they make vitamins, they help us digest. If you're not going to provide a good home for them, they're going to go to sleep and wait for you to clean up your act. By dropping the pH, making it more acidic, you germinate that microbe. That means activate it. You also have other microbes like friendly yeast that live more in an acidic environment. I mean, let's talk about some other microbes. H. pylori. H. pylori has a strategy of releasing something that's super alkaline, it's called ammonia, and then it can kind of really do its damage, and it's behind ulcers in the stomach and the small intestine. You have other microbes called C. diff, E. coli, salmonella, that could be put to sleep once you reduce the pH below 6. You have the small intestine and then you have the large intestine, right? The large intestine is where the majority of microbes are. Okay. That's where you should be having most of your lactobacillus or lactic acid bacteria. You shouldn't have the majority of microbes in the small intestine. In fact, certain parts of the small intestine on the top part of it should not be as acidic. They should be more alkaline. If you have these pathogens, like E. coli in the small intestine, where it's not as acidic, they start acting up and creating problems. When you drop the pH of certain parts of your digestive system, you can help put these pathogens to sleep and you can wake up the good guys. When you start to wake up some of these good bacteria, they start to release their own sort of antibiotic that also suppresses the bad bacteria. Now let's shift gears to the bad bacteria, the pathogens. How do you wake those guys up? The main way is not necessarily just to increase the pH and make the body more alkaline. The main way is to suppress the immune system, the natural thing that should keep the bad guys in check. Antibiotics also work because it lowers the defense system of the immune system. And then they start to wake up. Stress suppresses the immune system. Prednisone also wakes up pathogens. And the reason it's doing that is because it's lowering our immune system when we get older. Stressed out, they can start to thrive. But the big thing that can activate these microbes is vitamin D deficiency. So vitamin D deficiency creates such a weakness that the pathogens can come out of hibernation and do destruction. Even when I was in practice, I noticed that when people got these serious infections, whether it's a cold sore on the mouth or genital herpes, stress was a big trigger. It's lowering the immune system. Vitamin D is such an important factor, not small amounts. Talking about at least 10,000, but probably 000 or more of vitamin D3 that can help keep these microbes in remission because now your immune system is strong. And it can keep those guys in check. I hope you now know the importance of alpha cider vinegar and other natural acidifiers that can help change the environment of your gut. So what I would recommend is taking 1 tablespoon of alpaca vinegar in a little water in the evening every single day. You drink it with a straw and you can add lemon in it if you want. Or just do alpha cider vinegar. The type of alpha cider vinegar I like is Fairchild's alpaca vinegar. That's the one that I use. I hope this information helped you. And if you haven't seen this video on alpha cider vinegar, you should check it out.